Welcome back. Today, I have a treat for you. We're going to start, like we always do, with the subscriber spotlight, but wait till you see what I'm going to show you. The first of the two subscribers for today is Ann Blackburn, and she's from New Hampshire. She sent in some pictures of her hand-embroidered king-size quilt, and you got to hear the backstory of this one. It is beautiful with no story. But the backstory is her grandmother worked for J.P. Coates, which later became Coates and Clark. So the thread that's used in this quilt top is thread that was made by her grandmother in the 1950s. Adds a whole other dimension to this quilt. So not only is it a beautiful quilt, a beautiful heirloom, it's also the thread is made from her grandmother. So what a cool, neat story to tell. And I hope, I didn't ask her, but I hope she has a label on this one with all the details on it. If she doesn't, Anne, please tell me you're going to put a label on this one with all the details. That is incredible. I got to show you the pictures. So here they come. Wait till you see this quilt. Oh, and it was quilted by her friend, Christine, who is also a customer at their local quilt shop there in New Hampshire. So the quilting was done by Christine, but the rest of it was Anne. So here you go. Enjoy. The next subscriber is Judy Ray, and wait till you see what she found. You know, I go to these thrift stores and such a lot. I mean, well, not a lot, but I go from time to time. I don't ever find anything like a lot of other people find. But Judy, she found it. She found a quilt that had been started by someone who's probably passed on, and that's why it ended up in Goodwill. But she found it at the Goodwill. It's already been started. She's going to finish it this winter. But not only is it just a quilt that she found that she's going to finish, which that in itself is wonderful, but it is signed by Eleanor Burns. We all know her as a famous quilter and talk show host of Quilt in a Day, and it is signed by her. What an amazing find. I need to go to these Goodwill stores and such with these people, because when I go, I don't ever find anything. Maybe I don't go enough. Maybe that's my problem. But she found this for $3.99. Wow. She's going to finish it this winter, and I hope she sends a picture when she's finished it, because it's going to be beautiful as well. But just to find it and to be signed by Eleanor Burns, wow. I'm impressed. Well, here's the picture of what she's found. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Here you go. That concludes our subscriber spotlight for this week. If you have something that you would like to put in next week's episode, be sure to email it, Facebook message us, text us, whatever you need to do to get us that information. We will put it in next week's edition, and other people will enjoy it just as much as we have. So be sure and get those pictures in. Make sure you tell us where you're from, your name, where you found it, who gave it to you, who made it, whatever the important details are about it. Make sure you include those. But that is it for this week on the Subscriber Spotlight. But oh my goodness, was that not enough? Wow, I'm impressed. So now we need to get on today with the project at hand. Once before I showed you how to do some half square triangles. Well, I'm going to show you another way to make some half square triangles and make them quick. And then we're going to make a block out of it. So let's get started. To start with this block, we're going to need a background fabric, and it's going to need to be a 6-inch square. So we're going to take the 6-inch square and we're going to draw from corner to corner a line like that, and then from the other corner a line like that. Let me do this one a little bit darker. It didn't show up real well. Okay, so now we've got our X. We're going to also draw a line going straight down the middle and a line going across this way. So we've got all these lines. But now the line that we just drew this way, we're not doing anything with yet. This line here and this line here, we're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each line. So I'm going to make those marks so that I know those are my 2 sew lines. So we're going to take it to the sewing machine. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch down this side, 1/4 inch down this side, same here and same here. So we'll put our fabrics right sides together, take it to the sewing machine and sew this X. So once you've sewn your line on a 1/4 inch each side of these, the X lines, then we're ready for the next step. But if this line here, this plus sign, if that confuses you, don't draw this until then you've already sewn these. We didn't have to draw this line until right now. So now that we've sewn these, then you could go in and draw that plus sign then. Either way, to me it's just easier to write it all at the same time, but it's up to you. So now that we've got these lines sewn, the cut line is going to be the plus sign. So we're going to cut on this plus sign. Carefully pick your ruler up. Cut on the other side of the plus sign. Then you've got 4 little sections. You could leave them together and cut that X, or you can do it separately. I'm going to do it separately. So now the line that I drew here is also going to be my cut line. I'm going to cut on all 4 of those. You could line them up like this. And then you've got all these half square triangles. So see, you end up with 8 half square triangles that we're now going to make into a block. When you get these cut, you'll iron them open and cut the dog ears off, and then you'll end up with 8 half square triangles. So what we're going to do then is we're going to, and these measure 2.5 inches. They're all 2.5 inch square. We're going to need 4 2.5 inch of your background fabric squares, and then 1 center square. So what I'm going to do now is put it together into a block. The block will be put together like this. You'll have that for your center. That piece will go there. That there. There's your corner. This piece here. And then this piece here. You'll have 4 leftover squares that you can make another block. Just change the center out to make it different, or whatever you want to do, but this will make 1 block. So now we're going to sew them together by putting them right sides together. Go back over to the sewing machine. We'll take them and sew a 1/4 inch seam down this side. I'll iron it open as I go. So this one, to finish that row, and sew these other rows together the same way, right sides together. Once you have it to this state where your rows are together, all you're doing is sewing your rows together. So you're going to flip this one on top of this one, get your pins out, and pin at these seams. So match those seams up, roll it to the top, grab a pin, do the same thing with this seam, match those seams up, roll it to the top, and pin it, and then sew down this line. Take your pins out as you go. And once you get that sewn, then you'll take this piece to the ironing table. And now that that is ironed, we'll go to the next row and sew it together. And there's your block. Now all you need to do is square it up, and it should be a 6.5 inch block. And I've got a little squaring up to do. I'll grab my 6.5 inch ruler, line it up on here to make sure that none of my points are off. I don't want to cut any of my points out. And then I'll trim around it. Now I've got these two sides right, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it once and twice so that the two correct sides are over here now. Line my ruler up to those two sides and then cut the other sides. So what you end up with is a 6.5 inch square, and it's squared up and it's ready to put into a quilt. What would be pretty would be is to take this and just duplicate. This is just scraps that I've used, but you could do a specific fabric line if you wanted to, or whatever. You could change the size, make it bigger, whatever you wanted to do. But this would be pretty as one after the other square, just like this. Nothing else. You wouldn't even have to sash it. You could, but you wouldn't even have to sash it. I probably wouldn't. Just make square after square like this with all your little tiny scraps. All you need is a 2.5 inch square and you're good. So a scrappy quilt like this, perfect. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Quilting Corner and the little block that we made. I hope you try it. If you do, please send me pictures and let me know that you've tried it. I like seeing what you guys are doing as well. And I like when you guys tell me that you made it, you liked it, it was fun, it was easy, whatever. I just like hearing that. So I hope you like it. I hope you try it. If you haven't liked and subscribed to our channel, please do so now. We appreciate that more than you will know. And, well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, a great next week, and until next time, as always, happy quilting.